Aisha, as you said, in the next hour or so, the final polling stations will close. Then at 8 o'clock local time, we'll start to get a clear indication from exit polls about the direction of travel. And the big question is, how well did National Rally do? We know one of the winners from today, and that is democracy. Estimates of about a 70% turnout of eligible voters here. That is very big for these sorts of elections. So the French are engaging in this election in a big way. Why are they doing that? We know that it's been a bumper year for elections around the world, but arguably the election here in France is one of the most significant in Europe in modern times, and the French know that. Here's why they know that. Because National Rally, remember, a far-right, populist, anti-immigrant party with a fascist heritage that they have tried to distance themselves from, are on the cusp, potentially, we'll know in the second round, of taking power in France, a country at the heart of the European project. Here is a sense of the significance of today. There's betting on elections like in Britain, then there's bulldozing the bookies. In France, for Emmanuel Macron, the election is the bet. The man who placed it all smiles as he cast his ballot today, as if buoyed by the self-belief that he knows how this will pan out. He does not. No one does. The only certainty, France and perhaps Europe will never quite be the same again. When he called this election 3 weeks ago, his centrist candidates had just been trounced in the European elections by the far-right National Rally Party, led by Marine Le Pen, and her ultra-slick protege, or glove puppet to the critics, Jordan Bardella. Leftist candidates put in a strong performance too. Macron's plan, it seems, was to confront the French public with the bluntest of choices. Do you really want political extremes running the show? Tonight, the question will begin to be answered, and it leaves France's far right closer to power than they've ever been. Support for National Rally has been building for some time, but it's Bardella, with his TikTok bonhomie and polished media performances, who's generated all the momentum now. Just 28, the child of Italian immigrants. The story he tells is one of a boy done good, raised by a single mum in a crime-ridden suburb of Paris. Worth saying, though, he did go to private school. He wants what a lot of right-wing populists want: more tax cuts, less immigration, tougher criminal justice. Much of his campaigning has been done on social media, where he issued this final rallying cry to voters.
In this first round vote, you can turn the page on 7 long years of Macronism. French people have suffered too much from division, contempt, social brutality. They've suffered too much from lax justice and from unregulated immigration.
But the pressure on Macron and co isn't just coming from the right. France's left-wing parties have, unusually, managed to put their differences aside, agreeing to an electoral alliance that could see the centrists beaten back into third place.
We have to stick to what's important, and the important fact is, in a couple of days, France might be governed by the far right, and we will do everything we can to prevent this from happening. Doing everything means mobilising on the ground for our candidates to show that the left is the moat against the far right.
Remember, this isn't a presidential election. What's at stake is control of this, France's 577-seat National Assembly. It's here the domestic agenda is set, decisions on tax, spending, migration. If the party in charge is different from the president's, it's known as cohabitation, a politically awkward situation where the executive and legislative branches are potentially at loggerheads. The election's not the only result people care about here. France take on Belgium tomorrow in the Euros, and the national team, filled with an array of stars from migrant backgrounds, is a symbol of the modern multicultural France many feel is threatened by a potential far-right government. A point not lost on the players themselves.
For sure it worries me. For sure, what is happening in France worries me. We can't put power in the hands of certain people who have the objective of dividing us. I think diversity in France is our strength, and it always has been.
The Olympics comes to France in just over 3 weeks. Sport, but all wrapped up in how people see themselves and their countries. At the opening ceremony, the French president. But who will be in the next seat over as PM? And what will that mean for the world?